Manchester United won, Burnley won, another disappointing game for Manchester United. Another game where we started reasonably well, but then just completely lost control. Failed to assert ourselves on the game, really dominate the game at any point. Another disappointing afternoon all round for Manchester United. The question is why? Why was it so disappointing? What happened in this game? Because like I said, I actually felt that we started reasonably brightly. I thought the start to the game was positive. I thought United were playing some good football in the opening stages, and then it just all seemed to dissipate as the game went on. We'll start off with the good stuff early on, and then figure out what went wrong from there. That seems like a good idea. So, Onana in goal. This is where, for me, I thought United in the first 20-25 minutes really looked the better side because of the usage of Andre Onana in goal. Because Burnley were in a 4-4-2 shape, Onana became a key player in possession. Because Harry Maguire and Casemiro, our two centre-backs, would split quite wide either side of him. Our two full-backs would move further forward, like so, and then we would have two central midfielders in here. Now, Burnley's approach from here was quite obvious. The front two are going to go nearly man for man with the back two, and then the two midfielders are going to come up onto our two midfielders. Now, early on, this looks like Burnley are in a man-to-man system, which is quite difficult for us to play through because we're not normally particularly good at it. However, we have an Onana in goal, and Onana is absolutely brilliant on the ball, and he's perfect for manipulating these sorts of positions. Because the opposition may be man-to-man, but unless they actually go Mark Onana as well, they're not really. You know, the goalkeeper is always the free man. And that's exactly what we saw during the opening stages of the game. And it was Onana's patience on the ball, the ability to manipulate the ball, which made it quite easy at times to play out from the back. So what Onana would do is take extra touches in these areas, and he's going to lure someone like Foster in towards him. And then knowing that Onana can quickly play a pass into Kobe, we can play a bounce pass backwards. Maguire is now in space, and he can step with the ball forward and play from there. Of course, when you beat a man-to-man system like this as well, it really causes a lot of problems for the opposition. Because Foster is now out of the game and Maguire is a free man, someone else has to come and engage towards him. Someone has to put the pressure on, particularly when you play in a way which Burnley do. So it might be Sander Berge in midfield coming out, or it might be the winger coming towards him. But again, every time Burnley do that, we are creating another free man for Manchester United. It might be Dalot out wide, or if Sander Berge was the one coming forward, it might now be Kobe Mainoo as our free man in midfield. And then that drags another man across, but that frees up someone else. And that allows you to quickly move through the thirds and play through the opposition. And this is what United done quite well in the opening stages. The other thing we done as well was used Onana's medium range passing, if you like. And this was something I was really looking forward to when we first signed him. So again, the two centre-backs are going to split either side of the goalkeeper, but now they're going to split even wider. So not just, either side of the penalty box. Actually, at times, like fullback positions, really, really wide, extremely wide, knowing that the Burnley strikers don't want to go this wide into these areas. Instead, they are going to sit in here still, trying to essentially block the passes into the feet of our two midfielders. So now, what can we do from here? We can use Onana's passing ability, quite simply, to clip the ball over the top to Harry Maguire on the left-hand side, or over the top of this player here to Casemiro on the right-hand side. And again, we can play out from the back and move the ball forward. And this is what United done really well. The first 25 minutes I thought was good. It wasn't good in the sense that we absolutely dominated possession. We didn't really force them to camp in their own box. We didn't have 65-70% possession and creating chances. But what was good about it was that Burnley were pressing, we were drawing them onto us, and then playing through that press, and moving the ball forward and getting into the final third. And we had quite a lot of shots during the opening stages. And we do have evidence of this, as you would expect. So, this is, 8 minutes into the game, 8 minutes 50. We can see the exact formation we're talking about. Two centre-backs splitting wider, two strikers kind of in the middle, and then our two midfielders, also marked by two midfielders. Burnley are man-to-man, zonally. And obviously, from a United point of view, the benefit of this is that as the ball goes wide, the Burnley strikers can't really get towards our centre-backs quick enough, so we've got time on the ball, and from there we can manipulate. You can see Kobe Mainoo getting ready to drop deeper. This is pretty good. Pretty good. Burnley soon adapted, though, and went a bit tighter to our two centre-backs, as we can see here. But again, the centre-backs are split wider, and we've got two central midfielders. Now, on this occasion, the Burnley press is actually a little bit better, a little bit more intense, but Onana is the perfect weapon to destroy it. He was key to our positive first 25 minutes, because what he does is he fakes people. You can see here, he's going to roll the ball with the bottom of his boot, with his studs, towards the right-hand side. This is going to cause this Burnley player to press that way, because he thinks Onana is going to play the ball to Casemiro, so he's trying to cut the passing lane. What Onana does then quickly after that is quickly changes direction, and now he can play into midfield. But the key is that, if I quickly get the arrow tool up here, this player has been drawn in. towards Onana. He was previously on Casemiro. He's now been drawn in. So when this ball eventually goes into midfield into Christian Eriksen, Eriksen now knows where his free man is. It's Casemiro. So Onana has taken the pressure himself, drawn the pressure onto him, and then we've played round it. Actually, quite effectively. This was good in the first phase. Casemiro can then play into midfield. Again, if we're talking about, players now getting drawn out for Burnley, United done this well. Casemiro moves it in towards Kobbie Mainoo. Kobbie Mainoo lets the ball run across his body really effectively, plays it across to Bruno Fernandes in the midfield. Again, we can see Burnley players essentially trying to help each other out. They see a player in space, so they try and go help them, but it's going to create space for someone else. Bruno Fernandes gets the ball, plays it in behind down the left-hand side. United end up in the final third, and it all started with Onana's patience on the ball. It's great football. This is what United should be. Another thing we done well, as I said earlier, was used Maguire on the left-hand side really wide. On this occasion, you can see the Burnley forwards are not even close to Maguire, allowing Onana to clip the ball over the top to Harry Maguire. It's a great pass. Harry Maguire is then going to carry the ball forward down the left-hand side. You know how he loves to dribble and carry. And once again, we get ourselves into the final third. He releases the ball off. So it's a really positive first 25 minutes. And when you play out from the back like that, it suggests that you are playing well in possession. And again, I think we were. But then something changed. Something changed in the game. Suddenly, look at Onana's pass map. We can see the blue passes. Most of them are quite short. To the right-hand side, to his left-hand side, to his centre-backs, maybe a bit longer, to his centre-backs wide, or to his full-backs. Then we've got all these red ones. And what you'll notice is that mostly they are in the centre of the pitch. Long. And it actually also led to this. In terms of people attempting to pass to Rasmus Højlund, Onana done it the most often. That's concerning. And it became a real problem for Manchester United. I don't know why we done it. Now, I understand, right, if you play a certain way out from the back for 20-25 minutes, we play in a really good league with some good tacticians. Companies going to make a tactical adjustment to try and stop us playing out from the back. I understand that. But for me, with the quality of player that we've got, we shouldn't then resort to long ball. We should just try and find a tactical solution out from the back. So it might be inverting Dalot at times to shift the man-to-man system from Burnley. Not just go long, because when we go long from the back and you look at who we've got on the pitch here, Højlund struggles aerially at the moment. He's not someone who holds the ball up particularly well. And then if you're looking in midfield, and also the centre-backs joining in as well, we just don't have the players who are going to really benefit on the second ball. We don't have the energy for that. Kobbie Mainoo isn't someone who buzzes about the pitch getting onto second balls, and Eriksen certainly doesn't do that. And this is where we just completely sacrificed any control, any essence of dominance, and any ability to assert ourselves onto Burnley. And again, we can see the effect of this. So this is a previous clip where we've played quite well. As we now move it forward onto the next clip, things are going to change. So, Onana has an option here. He could play the ball into the feet of Kobbie Mainoo, and once again, this Burnley forward has been dragged in, so we could now play the ball wide to Casemiro on the left-hand side on this occasion. We could play out. The opportunity is there. But for some reason, and it has to be instruction, right, because it happens every game. It has to be instruction. But for some reason, instead, we go long. And again, the reason why I think it must be instruction is because we know that Onana, if possible, will always try and play short. Sometimes it doesn't work, but he will always try and play short. So for him to be going long on such a regular basis, it just has to be instruction. We're not going to win this ball, ever. Ever. And Burnley get on the first ball and the second ball, and it makes it really easy for them. Continued in the second half. Again, granted on this occasion, there aren't obvious options, but we could be patient. Onana isn't under pressure. Let's take our time here, try and draw them onto us again. Or we could do what we actually done and just send it long. And Burnley get the ball. Now, it would be something at least if when we went long, we went into the channels, because at least the second ball isn't going to drop into a dangerous area. When you go along through the middle of the pitch, though, you're asking for trouble, because it opens up our midfield. We're not good at winning the second ball, and then the opposition win the ball back in the centre of the pitch looking at our goal. At least in the channels, it'd be a little bit easier for us to defend. It's really concerning. Now, you may sit there and say, I'm not going to be too harsh on Ten Hag. This is a really difficult league tactically, and it is difficult to adapt. And when the opposition make changes, it is difficult to play through that. And I understand the argument. But how come Burnley can do it, would be my question back to you. So let me just explain that. Early on in the game, Burnley were using a very, very similar system to us. The two centre-backs would split either side of the goalkeeper. We would press with our front two like this. The full-backs would push nice and high with the wingers inside. and then the two central midfielders would drop a little bit deeper, like so. Early on, it caused problems. Burnley struggled to deal with this, really. Again, this is the last clip. If we move on to these clips here, we can see this exact shape. Goalkeeper with time on the ball, two centre-backs split either side of him, and two central midfielders in front of that. It's very, very similar to what United were doing. And when Burnley tried to play out from this, we put the pressure on well, and were able to win the ball back. So, very, very similar. But what Burnley didn't do was resort to a ridiculous amount of long balls. Instead, what they done was they came up with a tactical solution in the second half. In the second half, the structure has now changed. One of the centre-backs has dropped in alongside the goalkeeper to form a new back two, and then there are a line of four across in front of them, and it allows them to do this. Play the ball into midfield here, and then play the bounce pass. Essentially 2v1ing or even 3v1ing Bruno Fernandes, and Burnley play out from the back and now have all of this room. This was my big issue with the game. Burnley tactically were able to adapt and evolve by essentially doing, let's just get these players into position, essentially doing something like this, right, this sort of shape. Burnley were able to adapt and cause problems for us because our pressing shape now couldn't get them quite the same because we were scared of being man-to-man at the back. My question is, how come Burnley can make that tactical adjustment in the game and we can't? That was my big issue with this match. Of course, there was loads of other stuff which happened as well. Today we have just focused on the build-up and the play-out from the back. But for me, that was one of the most important things in this game. Because the second you start going long and losing the second ball, you almost remove your potential to play proper systems. You know, you could sit here and ask, what was our settled possession structure? To be honest, we didn't really see it. Because, once again, we had no control on the game. So we never really had the opportunity to get the ball down and hold the ball. Burnley actually ended up having more possession than us. So that's why I want to focus on this today. The goalkeeper, the play-out, and the change of approach for no reason. Because it doesn't make sense. If we had continued how we started the game, I think we would have really hurt Burnley. Over time, keep repeating those patterns, I think we would have really caused some damage. And we'd have been talking about a very, very different game. A game where we moved the ball quickly through the thirds and were effective in the final third. But instead we go to this long ball approach. Again, we sacrifice all control. Any sense of dominance, we sacrifice it. And we know in this division that when you sacrifice control, teams have quality and will hurt you. If they don't have quality, they might have a bit of luck. You know, they win a penalty out of nowhere, or a free kick from nowhere, or a long-range strike, or a deflection. These things happen when you lose control of football matches. And we lost control of this football match about 25 minutes in and simply didn't recover. And that is my problem with this game. In terms of who is to blame, perhaps you guys can help me on who you think it is. Is it Onana? Is he choosing to go long? Is it the midfielders? Are they saying, don't pass to me in midfield? Is it the centre-backs not comfortable on the ball? Or is it Ten Hag, for some reason, abandoning that idea of playing out from the back for the first 25 minutes? Help me, please, because I actually genuinely don't understand. So it's over to you guys. Get in the comments and do help. In terms of me today, I'm finished. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you have enjoyed it. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.